I have to shave. There's all these things. It never ends. You got to shave every day. There's just someone has to help me make a plan. Really, I'm going to reiterate this again. The most important thing is that I have to be brought into a rich family. We can't be living here anymore. There has to be some kind of miracle that happens for me. That's why I'm going to link again to the video I made about a month ago about these girls in Encinitas, this thing I came up with. This is what they were actually doing for me back when I had money, back when I had the opportunity to impregnate somebody, and what never made any sense to me because of the fact I was medicated and brainwashed into your genes are bad and given a false diagnosis that there was this genetic condition. I'm a carrier of some kind of, the kid's gonna come out too retarded, anemic, alpha-thalassemia, not having enough hemoglobin, white blood cells. That's a lie. That doesn't exist. That condition doesn't exist. Your genes are bad. Don't procreate. There's a lot of problems with that. And if you look at the circumstances behind how I found out that my doctor, and it didn't even come from my doctor, read my book, Come Back of the Century. This is the good genes that needed to be perpetuated, that if you don't do it, you lose everything. So in any event, we got to get brought into somewhere to where I can start spending a rich family's money, get this kind of understanding of what had happened, to get myself back on my feet, to start from a much higher square one than nothing. But right now we're at nothing, and then someone's going to give me like $1 million, and maybe 5 million, and 10 million, and then we'll have 20 million, and then we'll finally get to 100 million, 200 million, that level I'm supposed to be at, what feels right to me. That said, the Padres are in a series with the San Francisco Giants, so California. When I got into town, just like they were about the time I was here in 2022, it was the Dodgers came down for a series with the Padres, and later in the season they're going to be going up to LA for one up there at Dodger Stadium. But it's just what I was fascinated by a couple of months ago, actually a couple of weeks ago. I've been here about a month and a half, 2 months. I resolved to buy some nosebleeds tickets here at Petco Park because baseball is a very special thing to my story. For the world of journalism, remember, Keith Olbermann, he doesn't know how eugenic he is. He can, play-by-play and color commentary baseball. That's a very, very talented. Keith Olbermann was instrumental in making me as a journalist, and for reasons that will only become apparent when you read my next memoir. But the other thing is Michael Leidemann. I talked about Michael Leidemann once I was a reporter. His favorite thing was baseball. He was a Chicago White Sox fan. And speaking of White Sox, the thing with White Sox and these little recurring symbols in his book, The Wife Chronicles, that's a gem. That's a gem unlike any other. Someone would say that must have been written by AI, because there's all these just impossibly language only. No, I know for a fact there's just some things that are just so perfect. And silence at the end of the line, that chapter in there, and also the Grateful Dead at the end. But so if I had a personal assistant, if I had people that I could turn to and say, look, I want you to teach me everything. I want you to teach me the films. I want you to teach me what baseball is about, what the game is about. I'd read the book Baseball is History, and because it talked about Mark Twain and all the emergence of like Spectrum scoreboard kind of stuff, the technologies of sportscasting. But I would not know if I bought nosebleeds tickets to a Padres game what the hell is happening around me. And Michael Leidemann, if I were still in connection with him, he could explain it to me probably in an hour. If I could call Robert Kekaula's dead. There was no one like Robert Kekaula, as fat as he was, but if I could call Robert Kekaula, he would be able to explain to me what baseball was about in an hour. Probably football too. What else? There's all these people. I would really like to be able to do that. And the ability to process things fast enough to watch a game. So, my family is from the world of football. I've got two cousins that are very instrumental at the University of Hawaii. The Brotherhood, they say the Brotherhood, and it's John and Jared Ursua. So when I would go, I actually had season tickets to the football games. I'm a little older than they are. I had season tickets at football games at Aloha Stadium, which I had the privilege of watching be taken down, dismantled. So Taizo Braden, the wannabe realtor that now just hosts a TV program, locations, and talks about all the other real estate agents' listings on, I think it's a KITV, offshoot station. Because Taizo the mom is Sachi Braden there, and so it's just very interesting because he got hooked up with that job because of Sachi, and I'll never forget Taizo Braden. But what am I going to? I just anyway, it has to do with real estate because I wanted to write a book with Taizo Braden in order to learn about baseball and how to watch baseball and understand the game, since reading baseball as history didn't teach it to me, called Field Dreams, because I was the realtor at the time and he was the TV guy on television. I wanted to be the anchorman and he wanted to be the realtor, but his mom wouldn't let him, and he had an interesting story behind how badly she did not want him competing with her, Sachi Braden. But so we both could kind of trade places and co-write a book called Field Dreams about the Aloha Stadium in the years before it was dismantled. There was already talk of it in 2022. And I returned to Hawaii in 2022 to try to hook up with Taizo Braden to co-author this book and get a publishing deal. It never panned out. They were screwing me up in unbelievable ways. It's all Illuminati. But that's if I had a personal assistant, I could turn to someone and say this. Right now, I would say I wish my head knew. I wish my head knew. But when I was going to these games, and we had season tickets, the only thing I could kind of hone in on in football was the broadcasting stuff. I was just so fascinated by the broadcasting stuff, the ways maybe if I knew how to do play-by-play, I could get myself on as Leahey or get myself on as Kekaula, and my face and my penis and my name on a lower third would appear. K5, the home team, and this is the new Robert Kekaula. This is the man. This is and if I were baseball, for the what's it called, the Murakami Stadium at the University of Hawaii Sports is a big thing. It's bigger than UNLV in Las Vegas. It's bigger than SDSU here in San Diego because it's an island. It's college athletics is what we have, and we could really have me and my face. So just everybody knows who I am walking through Omaha Shopping Center. If I'm not Keahi Tucker, then I'm the Robert Kekaula. I'm the Jim Leahey, Kanoa Leahey. So that's why all I could really think about when I had season tickets to these games going with my grandfather, because my head was too slow to actually process the game. I couldn't, all these X's and O's they draw for the coaches, in my head, these are things you just innately understand. If you can put yourself on the field, and how do you punch the ball, good old-fashioned football, as they say, the way the game is played. I can't understand any of that for the life of me. But the camera crane, and when ESPN brought, and a link to my article that I wrote about the Aloha Stadium that was being taken down, that I wrote about my understanding of it and my history with it. Everybody's talking about it, and this there's a mana, Hawaiians say mana, the stadium is being dismantled. It's just the old disappears to make way for the new, and there's going to be real estate, luxury real estate surrounding. These are the plans. This is not. I don't like public-private partnership just from a journalist's perspective, because it creates, they call it public-private partnership, but it's an official kind of public-private partnership where because it's semi-private, not everything is subject to FOIA, not everything is subject to public information, and so they've got this public information, they've got this what they call PR team that's responsible for putting out the stadium district stuff, and it's just we're not getting enough information. We can't guarantee so many things. We need to know so much more from the development perspective. But supposedly this stadium they're going to be building, a new Aloha Stadium, it's not going to have enough seats. I said when we had the chance to get the Donald Trump football coach as June Jones in 2022, and I was talking about it in 2022 on my Twitter at the time, from of all places right here in San Diego, we need an 80,000 seat arena. This would fill. I put a Colt Brennan. This would fill an 80,000 seat arena, and it's going to be not even a 35,000 seat arena there, like Snapdragon Stadium. Just this is Hawaii. We should be Marshall, leaders and legends band of the 212, and that kind of level, big level. So. The thing is, I just wanted to say, if someone would call me up, you've got my phone number, you've got my email address, and explain to me what the hell baseball is and how to understand it, so I can go to one of these games and look at it. Because my head is, here's the key thing, what is this guy talking about? Not taking psychiatric drugs, I've actually developed the ability to look at something and have fluid processing of something in that amount of time, to where the direction of movement and what's happening, counting things, moving past bases, where people, even in football now, not being so sensitive to what this medication did, what the psychiatric medication did, that made my penis the size of a pencil eraser. There's a picture of that in my book too. It made me so sensitive to pain that I actually couldn't put myself on the field as a player. This is actually what the best sportscasters kind of do in their mind. They're not thinking X's and O's. They're thinking kinesthetic. They're thinking when someone's tackled, you know, that what is the word Katoosh that Jim Leahey had. Someone said called it a Katoosh. It was the thing, I think it was the Leahey father and son sportscasting team. They feel it. They feel the Katoosh and they know. And when Robert Kekaula, KITV legend, says, you know, Norm Chow likes his receivers big. He likes them big, and they can get the big receivers. You know, that's he knows. He knows. He can feel. It's not something that they can just see and then they can look at statistically in terms of player stats. It's something that they can feel. And so because I couldn't feel it, it's like, well, right there, it's more kinesthetic than it is. So yes, visually you have to. It's called mirror neurons. Mirror neurons that these medications actually. It says it's supposed to make your mirror neurons better. It completely disabled it, so that I couldn't do anything, and that's why my penis is the size of a pencil eraser. But the best thing that I can do to do something about that is to go to one of these Padres games and sit in the nosebleeds and be able to understand the game.